Hi, it's Brandon. Earlier today, the 7th Early Access build of Assetto Corsa Competizione was released, and with it we received some nice new features. Some of the new features include dynamic weather, visual damage, suspension damage, aero damage, and tyre damage. We also get some penalties, a multifunctional HUD element which allows you to manage your pit stops and race strategies. It also allows you to manage all the electronic aspects of the car. There are also new rating requirements for multiplayer. There's also a new custom race weekend mode, and much more. So as you can see here, we have a bit of dynamic weather going on. It's gone from dry to wet and back to the dry again. It's not exactly seamless, and I'm sure they're still working on it, but when you're driving you don't really notice it and it feels quite good. In the main menu we've got our 3-hour endurance race weekend back, as well as the 6-hour endurance race weekend, which is nice to see again. And also we have the new custom race weekend, which allows you to adjust more things to your liking. We now have a more detailed weather menu which allows us to set our own custom dynamic weather. We can choose how much cloud cover we have, what the variation of the weather is, and more, as you can see here. And if you go into the realism tab, there's an adjustment for damage at the top, which goes from 0 to 100%. In the server list menu, you can see that there's now server rating requirements, for example the track medals that you need to join a server, or even the safety rating requirements. This is just so we can have some nice clean racing to stop the wreckers coming in and ruining everyone's day. As you can see here, this is the multi-functional HUD element which allows you to do all sorts, adjust things in your car and edit your pit stop strategies and everything. And now I'm going to move on to the damage. So first is the tyre damage. So basically if you have really low pressures and you abuse the curbs a lot, as you're seeing right here, you can get punctures. And as you see after running over this curb here, you'll hear the scraping of the car and you'll hear a flapping tyre on the front right. So that'll affect your performance. You'll have to change your tyre. You've got to be careful when you have low pressure tyres, especially when you're in slick tyres going into the wet. That's when your pressures start to drop, so it's up to you how you deal with that, if you drive carefully or just go into the wet tyres. As you can see, it affects me through the final corner at Monza. As you can see here, the front right of the car is sunk to the ground where the tyre is deflated, so not the ideal thing to do if you're in an endurance race. And just something I found is that if you deflate a tyre, that wheel stops spinning. As you can see right here, it just sort of slides across the ground. All the other wheels continue to turn, but this one doesn't. And now I'm going to be testing the visual and the suspension damage. At the end of this straight, I'm just going to go straight into the wall to see what happens. First thing you might see is the HUD popped up a little bit and the windows are a little bit scratched. But overall there's not a lot of visual damage, and Kunos themselves said that they're not going to be doing a very detailed visual damage. But as long as the physical damage has an effect on the car, then personally that's all I really want. As you can see, I managed to drive off even after hitting that wall very hard, so that's probably not what would happen in real life. But I continue to drive off, and my handling is not really affected in any way. I might have a little bit of aero damage, I can't quite tell. It feels fairly similar to how it did before. But I'm just going to drive a little bit more and see if there's any effect, maybe down the straight. My top speed, I don't really know what it usually is, but it didn't feel like I was going much slower down the straight. So there was a big smack and it didn't really do anything other than visually damaging my car. I can handle this bump okay. Once again I'll go over this bump and it handles that alright. Down the straight I decide to give it a little bit more damage and I drive into the walls on each side of the track. Now surely that's done something, and as soon as I start turning I realise that yes, I do have a lot of damage now. I can barely get myself back onto the road. My wheel's nearly upside down, I'm going in a straight line. So clearly I've done something by hitting the wall on the side of the car. If you hit the wall head on right now, it doesn't really do anything. But as soon as you make contact with the wall with your wheels, that's when you get suspension damage. Now we're going to take a look. As you can see, the wheels are very toed in, which is not very normal. And it's even worse on the left side of the car. Not very straight wheels at all. So we've got some sort of damage going, which is nice to see. Overall, I'm really starting to see this game progress forward, especially with the damage and the dynamic weather now. I might have a race and upload that within the next few days and see how that goes. But I'm really starting to enjoy it, and I'm guessing we might see another 2 early access builds, maybe 0.8 and 0.9, before we see the full release, maybe in a couple months. So as of now, nobody's really sure of when the full release will come out. But I'm enjoying it so far. Go update your game and try it out for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.